So Terrence Malick, there you go. He's made some really weird films. I don't know if they're bad. They're just weird films. So,
we need
Egg, I need the cinephile market as well. We can't be relying on the comedy because it's done wonders for our career.
Woke Asian guy.
And Egg White.
What have you been up to, you little rascal?
I've just been busy.
You little scamp.
Egg White, what's the subject for this week?
Have you ever seen a recent movie trailer, in the last 5 years? What is the point of movie trailers? Because you basically watch it and you know exactly what's going on in the film. It's just like, well, I don't need to go and see it now because they've given away the twist. It's almost like we've reverted back to the state where people don't want to go to the cinema. And don't get me wrong, going to the cinema is quite a big investment these days, especially with cost of living and everything else. But
it's not actually. The Vue Cinema, you can get £10 tickets. That's not bad.
Yeah, but £10 a ticket is still quite a lot, especially if your partner, maybe your mates or your kids. So you take everyone. That's like a 50 or 60 quid night out.
I'm going to give you a hack, Egg White. Give you a hack. And you've referenced the cost of living crisis. The multiplex Vue cinemas, you buy one ticket, you go through, the disinterested person who doesn't want to be there, scans your ticket, and you walk in. Usually in that corridor, there's like 4 or 5 screens all right next to each other. So what you do is you watch the film you want to watch, let's say at 10 o'clock in the morning. Then you wait until, obviously, that film finishes, and you wait around. Then you go into another screen and watch half or 3/4, or wait until it starts, then go into another screen and another screen, another screen. No one ever comes in to check up or kick you out like they did in the old days. Yeah, because there's no one there.
Who's got the time to spend an entire day watching 5 half or 3/4 of films without finding the beginning? Oh, is that why in the trailer?
It's also a hack to stay warm as well. So you can keep your house cold. You can take your laptop in because you get Wi-Fi in some of these places. You can carry on working in the lobby, take a few phone calls. You got toilet roll, you got toilet paper, which is the same thing actually. You've got hygiene standards.
Maybe that's why trailers are give away, don't keep anything back for the imagination whatsoever. They tell you exactly what's going to happen in every single film that they're advertising now, because they expect people to go into the cinema, buy one ticket, and then spend the whole day in the rest of the cinema catching the first half or second half, or the first 3/4 or the last 3/4 of other movies, and so they need to tell what's going to happen in the bit that the person misses.
Very true. But okay, do you think they're dumbing down everybody? That's the question. Phone lines are open.
I would say yeah, because it seems like you want to go to watch a film
and you want to be surprised.
You want that support. You want to kind of the full escapist kind of experience where you go in, you don't know what's going to happen. You might now have a vague idea of what it's about or anything, something like that, and then it actually takes you, it opens your mind, or it just takes you by surprise, and you're like, wow, this is great. I didn't expect to be taken on this ride and this journey, but instead you kind of like, oh yeah, that looks really good film. Yeah, I kind of know what happens in that. I'm going to pay my money. It's like you're only going to invest in this money if you know exactly what you're going to get. And have we got to that point? There's no kind of oh well, I'll take a chance on this film, I'll go and see this. Yeah, there's no because people, when people come out of the cinema, normally people used to kind of say, I recently like that, or the big debate of like if you liked it or didn't like it. Whereas if you now know pretty much 90% of what the film is that you're going to see, you're not going to go and see it if you don't like that trailer, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And also, I think the kind of the people who make the trailers just think that they're like the actual film directors, and they're cutting the whole story down and into like a 2 to 3 minute sort of version, and that to me is not what a trailer is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a skill set to completely strip it down to a very short period of time. But a trailer isn't giving everything away that happens in the movie. It is giving a taster, and it's selling the film
to
and it's
whet
trying
your appetite.
exactly,
Yes.
to whet your appetite. And that's the art form. It's not kind of, oh yeah, well I've just kind of cut it down. Oh my god, yeah.
I blame Lethal Weapon 2. So notoriously, this is a true story. Notoriously, the Lethal Weapon 2 trailer back in 1992, obviously when I was 4 or whatever, and the trailer itself, I saw it at the age of 2 in the cinema, and the trailer, no joke, was about 20 minutes long. They literally took all of the action sequences in the film and put it into the trailer. So I hear what you're saying, but they don't put everything in there. But for this trailer for Lethal Weapon 2, they put everything in. So when you watch the film, all you're getting is the plot line. You've seen the action already. It's still a big hit, so I have no idea what they're doing. It was a very strange thing to do.
I mean, Lethal Weapon 2 was
With that anti-Semite Mel Gibson.
because I think the Lethal Weapon 1 was an 18, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It was super adult, yeah.
And Lethal Weapon 2 was a 15, and I think Lethal Weapon 3
It was a PG.
was a
Universal.
12 or a PG. Yeah.
Well,
I think PG, I think it's a 12.
Oh, come on, it became a kids' movie as soon as Joe Pesci turned up. Okay. That's all I can do with Joe Pesci. Have you got any good Joe Pesci accents? Funny how?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I have actually. Yeah.
Shall we have a Pesci off?
It's probably from his casino days.
Oh, your mother!
I got a question for you. Do you like to suck? Do you think I like to suck? Do I look like a motherfucker to you? Do I look like a motherfucking cocker to you? Do I look like a motherfucking cocker to you?
I mean this from the bottom of my heart, but I think you should do that dog food commercial. That was great, and you should do it in that accent. Dog food. It's great for you. Your dog will shit his guts out in pride.
Pedigree fucking chum.
Look at that shit coming out of its asshole. It's full of fiber.
Look at that jelly. It looks exactly the way it goes in, the same way it goes in, the way it comes out when you shit yourself 5 minutes later.
Yeah, and you could be like poking the stool with your stick and actually breaking it apart. Like who's that? Gillian McKeith. Be like that.
Maybe she. Oh, hello. You know it's me, Gillian McKeith. Oh, Joe, I think you've been eating dog food again, haven't you, Joe?
Oh, what the fucking hell, Jillian? What the fuck? How do you know that, you sick motherfucker?
Oh, but Joe, you shouldn't be eating. I don't know where the accent's gone a bit. Oh, Joe, I don't know if it's Welsh or Scottish now, but never mind.
I mean, she's the worst example of Andy Warhol's 15 minutes of fame. Why have you been touching that many stools? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's happened to her? Does anyone know what's happened to her?
Tell you how unhealthy that she thought you were just by looking at your shit, which is, I find kind of quite interesting to a degree. But then you kind of think, hang on.
Oh, well, actually, what do you think's in your dog food?
Yeah, but that brings you nice and neatly to Trump's social media site, doesn't it?
Truth Social.
Yeah.
Of which I'm a member of.
However, how's being on Truth Social being?
Oh my god, it's just mad. It's absolutely mad. So unfortunately, do you know how Twitter works? Obviously, it makes people really bad. You start throwing insults at people, and I don't know how I've done this. I love and adore Lenny Henry for obvious reasons, and I love Frankie Boyle, and they've both blocked me on Twitter. So they must have had a need. I must have said something I thought was quite funny and inoffensive, but a little bit cheeky. But their team had a knee-jerk reaction and blocked me.
What? I
have no idea why. And I love them to bits. I think they're great. So
hang on. This started off as a question about me asking you how you on Trump's social media site, Truth Social, is as a kind of ironic question. And you've ended up answering it saying that you've been blocked on a different platform on Twitter, the same platform that Trump was banned from, saying that you've been blocked by one of your heroes, Lenny Henry, and also another one of your more recent heroes, Frankie Boyle, two left-wing liberal comedians, and they have ended up blocking. Do you not see how the irony is just off the scale in your story?
It's yes, it's quite emotional.
I thought you were the woke Asian guy. I thought you were supposed to be
the woke Asian guy. Sounds like I'm the woke, annoying, irritating bastard guy, which technically you've been telling me for a long time anyway. So nothing changes there. So anyway, to cut long story short, yes, I digress. The whole point I was making is Twitter makes you like throw snappy, rude, horrible, snarky comments. So when Lenny Henry says anything on Twitter, you get a barrage of racist abuse going all the way down, right? And it's just like, whoa. And they throw the same thing at him again. So he played a Chinese character on Tiswas or the spin-off show, but then they always frame grab that racist stereotype that he did back in the 70s. And then there's a famous picture of him as a minstrel with the other minstrels, which is not so much apologized for, but he basically wanted to shoot everybody, if I remember correctly, and himself included, for putting himself in that situation. And it's just a barrage of abuse. So knee-jerk reaction from all these people on Twitter, they go, oh, someone like Lenny Henry, who's a diverse character and all that, every time he says something, Nish Kumar's another one, gets attacked whenever he says or does anything. And people just, because they can live behind this anonymous wall, they can just do that and just walk away whistling, going, I did something funny. And Truth Social is the same, because it's full of all of these mad people who still believe that the election was stolen. And I ended up, they started doing in the UK that you can sign up. So I signed up for shits and giggles. Then, egg white, I got sucked in. I started seeing all these people again, videos, memes, pictures. Oh, I'm actually looking at it now. I'm not joking, egg white. There's a Truth Social sponsored advert where you can get a free Smith & Wesson pocket knife. That's an advert on Truth Social. Now, do you think Twitter or anyone else would actually have an advert where you can get a free knife?
Probably not. No, it's probably somewhat slightly frowned upon in most circles.
You said that in the most British way, slightly frowned upon to have a free knife. So do you think you're scrolling on Facebook and it's going, oh, an AR-15 or a combat weapon? Oh, I might order that off Amazon Prime. And remember, it's Black Friday, so you might get some deals on like some crazy shit.
I think you should put together a Brown Friday.
A Brown Friday? Okay, interesting. So for Brown Friday, what would I sell?
Well, I don't know, but it could basically just be you throwing a whole load of...
Well, obviously it's going to be me. It's not going to be you, is it?
Are you throwing a whole load of tit in the back of your car and going to a car boot sale?
So what? Throw what into the car?
Well, basically like just trying to shit you're trying to get rid of or throw out, and you can't be bothered.
What you're really saying is I should throw in 300 saris in the back of my car, take it to some fair and sell them all using my newly approved ethnic accent.
That's not what I'm saying at all. So you can, because you could sell things, anything, literally anything, like cakes. You could, if you wanted to make some cakes. I was just thinking all the broken shit which you probably got stored up in your garage, which you can't be bothered to take to the dump.
Well,
put it in your car.
It's 50% broken stuff and 50%, like every male does, stuff that they buy, like some electronic gadgetry. Goes, oh god, this is going to revolution my stuff. Back in the cupboard, and it'll sit there, rotting.
Yeah,
away.
exactly. Just throw that in, right? Drive around the corner into local. Doesn't even need to be a proper car boot sale. Just drive to like Tesco's car park or other supermarkets are available, and then just open your car and just start selling.
So you just sound like those adverts, or in other available superstores.
Exactly.
But
we don't want to get sued, do we? I mean, people would have to listen to us.
Talk about being sued. I have to put the disclaimer to Vue Cinemas. I don't condone any of the actions that I represented earlier on about getting a ticket at 10 o'clock and just staying in the cinema and avoiding the people who don't want to be there, all the staff members. Have you been to? I mean, well, digressing, so I'm going to go back to True Social because it's absolutely mental. But have you ever seen a happy Vue customer? Vue employee. Have you ever seen a Vue employee that's just happy to serve you?
Yeah, I used to work in cinema at one point as well. I used to love it.
I thought I was like a Quentin Tarantino.
Whoa, okay.
Watching
Did you work in a?
watching every fucking movie as it came out, going, "Oh my god, you're gonna love this one." Oh
Okay,
yeah,
did you work in a chain or an independent cinema?
Explosions. It's got romance. It's got nuance. It's a show. Oh, there's dinosaurs. Oh yeah, there's dinosaurs.
What in what? In Castaway. Or the Terminal.
You ended up being passed away.
I only ever really watched Tom Hanks films, so it was just quite fortunate.
What cinema was it? Was it an independent cinema or was it one of the big chains, the Odeons, Views, and Cineworld?
It was a big chain. It was a big chain. I won't say which one, but it was a big chain.
All right, and you were happy to work there?
Yeah, you know, it was like a first job sort of thing. And
maybe sometimes
I was kind of happy. I was happy doing it. I was as happy as serving people, ripping their tickets up to you know, force feeding them, you know, 10 pounds of nachos and fake cheese and buckets of popcorn bigger than their face to, you know.
I can imagine you just going, enjoy your fake cheese and your lukewarm nachos.
Or just clean, or you know, even just cleaning the cinema afterwards, or cleaning the toilets. I'd just do anything, mate. I just quite enjoyed it.
Did you have to clean the toilets? Sorry, this is the grey area. I did not know you had this side career.
Yeah, I used to just like being around the movies, man. And I know technically that's not what you say is being around the movies, but you know, it's one of the perks was you got to see films, and I liked films, so I thought, well, it's a small price to pay for getting to watch a lot of films. But now you've told me how to do it for free. I didn't need to go through all that shit.
No, but you got paid to do it. That's the thing.
Yeah. But this was back in the day when minimum wage was, you know, about $3.50.
Wow, what did you buy with your first paycheck?
A pint.
A pint.
I bought a whole pint with my first week's paycheck. Do you remember that when like hourly wages were not far off how much a pint would be?
Yes, I missed those days.
And then going to the pub and just thinking, I worked 60 minutes of my life, 60 minutes of my life for this one drink. And then obviously you have a couple of drinks, and then you're basically a bit twatted, and you've basically spent your whole week's wages in one night. Cost
of living crisis alert. Neck oil. My mate went to a pub to buy 2 pints of neck oil, and that was £14. £7 a pint. Is
which borough was that in?
That was in Brentford, which is West London.
Oh, well, there you are then. He bought it on himself.
You know, you're a postcode snob. As soon as I told you where the place was, you just went, well, there you go.
He bought it on himself. If you're going to drink in West London, and you know, for one thing, it's the most annoying place to get to in the entire world. Yes, world. Then why would you want to go that way? And two, why would you want to spend time drinking that way? Well, I guess you know, drinking probably would be the best thing to do to try and forget that you were actually in West London. So yeah, I can understand.
Not as trendy as North London or Kensington or East London with its culture like super bar vibes, but you know, it's got loads of parks. It's got Sky Television, GlaxoSmithKline Beecham, and on a good day, you might walk past and see them being raided by, you know, the EU again.
I mean, let's
some dodgy stuff.
Let's just really be honest here, right? Like, people kind of like they say, oh yeah, well, I'm West London, I'm North London, I'm South London, oh, I'm East London. You're all just trying to kid yourselves, and everyone's just trying to kid themselves that their part of London is better than the other part of London, when in reality, it's all just as depressing and just as expensive and just as annoying and frustrating. And it's just because that you're so paranoid that if you move out of London, you might miss something, but actually you're not really doing anything to miss anyway. But it's only because you're in London and you think it's the center of the universe, because that's what we've been fed bullshit lies by the the bureaucracy and the media and the politicians, that everything is London centric, when actually there's far nicer, cheaper places outside of London where people aren't.
Do you know what you just done?
What?
You just done a British centric Ferris Bueller. Life moves pretty fast. If you live in London, you're probably a dick. Some words to that effect, anyway.
Yeah.
But you're a bit of a, you know.
I guess.
So wait, so you live outside of London. I presume you have lots of museums and rivers and art galleries.
Why are you suggesting that only London has those things?
Okay, Canterbury's got a cathedral. That's nice. Has he got the Tate Modern? Has he got the skateboard rank?
Yes.
Has he got Big Ben? Has he got Big Ben? Is there a Big Ben? There is no Big Ben. There's a Parliament.
What's the point you're trying to make?
Point I'm making is I was blocked by Lenny Henry, Frankie Boyle on Twitter, and I noticed Twitter, you just throw slinging mud at people because you can work behind anonymity under 240 characters. And the reason why I'm on Truth Social is I've become infected by just basically slinging mud at people. So all these people are just bringing it on themselves, saying the election was stolen. So I'll just do reply to certain people of, it actually keeps me humorously going. So there's this guy called Cash. What's his name? Cash Patel. He's the most insane person. He's a lawyer for Trump. He's a sellout Asian, I'm sad to say, like Dinesh D'Souza. So Cash Patel's a lawyer, and he's written a children's book called The Plot Against the King, how all these bad people like Nancy Pelosi in this children's book tried to destroy the king, which was Donald Trump. And he's riding on the coattails of Donald Trump, trying to sell his book, trying to make money out of it. I mean, it's mad. It's these people on Truth Social are just basically trying to use Donald Trump to make money.
Right wing content thrust upon my in my face, then we seem to be getting that quite a lot in our TikTok feed. So I think I'll stick with that. Thanks.
All right. So yeah, you want to stick with British right wing rhetoric. You don't want to just spread yourself too thin by annoying the Americans, is what you're saying.
Just to slightly stray somewhat, a tiny bit, yeah. Because it leads into something else, which I think you keep wanting to say to me as well, and I keep wanting to hear. So there's another comedian that is obviously does a lot of good work for charity and big causes, but gets a lot of shit, and a lot of people like to hate him.
Yeah.
So and that person is James Corden, including yourself. So you were going to tell me why you dislike Mr. Corden.
Oh, okay. So my dislike for James Corden, which I can detail only from my perspective, is a lot of people. You sent me a TikTok video of people just writing in Reddit saying, "Oh yeah, I sat next to him in an airplane." Well, I don't know whether it's true or not. He was like being an arrogant douche. I was in the audience of his show. But he's just being an arrogant douche. He's on his phone. Now I can't. That's just perspective, and I can't see obviously behind the scenes. I wasn't there for any of these things. I tell you one thing. So in the morning, my morning routine, I make myself breakfast, feeling like shit, miserable, moody, cranky, all of the good stuff, right? Or one of my 5 a day. So I put on the monologues for a lot of the shows, for the American TV shows like Jimmy Fallon, like the other guys, Stephen Colbert. And Corden, I put his on now and again. I can literally tell you he comes across as a douchebag. He's very, very... He's very snarky towards his crew. So his head writer and his band lead member. I know what you said last time. We've had this conversation before. He's he's doing an act, and you're always telling me, oh, he's doing an act. I'm telling you now, this is only my perspective. I can tell just by the way he talks to he's sycophantic to like the celebrity guests that come on. Oh, aren't you great? Aren't we friends? Are we gonna be in a film together someday? Oh, whatever. But he tries to get the cheap.
He's not actually. I mean, he does a bit of that because obviously you want people to open up, but there's a bit of the British bants
and the starting cats. So that's made my day. I even saw his dance routine. I was like, yeah.
Are you genuinely?
Just
hang on. Just pause a second.
Oh,
is that genuinely your reason? I thought you were going to tell me some kind of anecdote about how you actually physically knew him and you saw him and you've got some experience. So you're just going on. You listen to the monologues from these different shows and you're basing it on that. Which
it's
we
reading between the lines. I hear what you're saying. It's reading between the lines of how he interacts.
It's still a character, though, isn't it, Wokie? He's still playing the character in that.
You say that, and I can contaminate. I can cross-reference.
Of course, the American ones are going to be. The
American
ones are going to be way more a different approach to it and kind of appear polished. He goes against that because his whole thing is almost like the anti that because he knows that he can't do that because that's not really the British way, is it? To kind of come across really squeaky smooth and clean and polished and finessed. That's not the British way. The British way is to kind of be a bit more neggy and a bit more kind of like honest. So I think you're confusing kind of like this persona with real life. The people on Reddit, which you've basically just dismissed, are actually have more of a point than you've just tried to make.
I hear you.
If we were on a date, right? If we were on a date, I would walk out now because it'd be a letdown. Because you basically catfished me into thinking that it's going to be some kind of really good story, and when I got there, it's basically like the Norman Lamont.
Whoa, showing your age, Egg White. Come on, Norman Lamont. No, I don't know anyone is listening to this podcast. All three of them, you've lost them already with your Norman Lamont comment. I barely remember the mono-browed freak. What else next?
How to ostracize your audience.
Yeah, and obviously the Americans goes, "Who's this Norman Lamont? I ain't got time to Google this shit. I'm on my training machine, exercising. I got 30 minutes in the morning. I got to listen to this shit podcast, and I got to go to work. I'm not going to Google Norman Lamont. That's not going to happen. Anyway, to digress. Wow, this whole episode has been one big digress. So to get back to you, what you're saying is I watched. They started producing on YouTube the original. There's no remake. So the original Chevy Chase chat show host he had in 1993, which was what it literally for anyone in the audience to watch is woefully abysmal. I tell everybody. I feel he's just the same as James Corden. His narcissism is actually there, and it sort of comes out when he's talking to his lead writer, his lead band member. He's making like digs at him because so the lead band member sometimes he has one episode he's like has a nap before the show starts and goes, and it's one of those snarky kind of things. Goes, oh yeah, having a nap, were you? Oh right, and it just goes with that. And his head writer goes, oh yeah, you could see that they're squirming slightly from this kind of like backhanded compliments that he throws. And with Chevy Chase, he did the same thing. He did not have an act. If he hated a head writer, he would actually say to the head writer, "Oh yeah, that was crap." His house band, Chevy Chase's house band, literally stopped performing all those inter-musical bits every time he walked.
You know that everything from is fake. Everything, even a documentary, is cut, and it's from the point of view of whoever's cutting it. It can be manipulated and it is fake. And even so, in the studio, there's nothing there that is real. It's a whole facade, it's a whole persona. So you haven't done anything to. If this was a court of law, it would be thrown out because it'd be like, well, you haven't brought anything to the table. And the statement for this podcast is James Corden is a nice guy. So that
You know
statement
what?
still stands.
Egg, I am going to visualize what I'm doing right now. I've folded my arms in a defensive manner and I'm staring at the meeting web browser in a very sarcastic manner because I hear what you're saying, but I don't totally agree. And I've been trying to get that point to you. And I think we're going to have to put this James Corden to bed because you have your opinion. I have my opinion.
Oh, God. Now you're sounding like a true Wokie tosser. Yes, I've finally woken the woke person up. Yes, it's only taken about an hour and a half of actually recording. Finally,
Okay, so
the woke guy has woken up. Yes, I mean it means that you're not going to talk to me for the next 3 days because you're going to be in a right drop. But never mind.
Woke Asian guy.
And egg white.